Yo, 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 yo. I figured we'd actually stream here first and then do the League stream just so I can wake up instead of streaming League and then losing all my games for being half asleep. So we'll give that a try first. We'll stream here for like 2 hours or so and then we'll swap. That's what we will do. Hang on. Spam the chat for a sec. Spam it. I'm changing the chat thing. Just literally put anything you want in it. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Fill the fucking chat box. Literally keep going, just keep going. Okay, try again. One more time. Okay, cool. Better. Alright. Yo, yo. We're here. I still haven't read the article. I think I've glimpsed a little bit of it, but like, yeah, I should probably read it. I should probably read it. Ow. 2 more weeks of waiting, and we are in full force. We are in full swing of the Dowie King. Even though the big king of the book is yet to be seen. Pretty sure it's Ungrim right now. But I guess we'll see in 2 weeks. It finally feels good to actually see confirmation of things instead of just being, you know, speculative and like... Thursday? Is it Thursday? That's cool. Is that what they've been saying? I didn't read the article. Again. We'll read the article now then, actually. That's fine. I'm gonna be scraping plastic for an eternity anyways. I gotta make 20 rangers. Okay. Yo, 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 yo. Hello, sir. Give me 1 sec. Oops. We are trying to read a new article. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Old World Almanac, How the Dwarven Mountain Holds Fair in Battle. This week, the focus is back on Warhammer the Old World as we cast our eyes to the rocky fastnesses of the Dwarven Mountain Holds as their first wave of units hit pre-orders this Saturday. According to the Old World Almanac, accordingly, the Old World Almanac returns for a series of chats with Danny and JTY, 2 of the key designers behind the whole project. Today, they're talking about the rules, how do they play, and what's the difference in their 2 armies of infamy, the Royal Clans and the Expeditionary Force. I feel like I've never really, like, when it comes to dwarves, I've always been more interested in engineering and their craft, more so than, like, actual, you know, elite-ish warfare, I guess you could say, like the king and his guard, stuff like that. Because it's the ingenuity of the dwarves that kind of make them very very intriguing, you know? It's like how in a world can people create these when everyone else kind of does other things, you know, like throws sticks and stones at you, and dwarves have literal cannons and fucking powder weaponry. I don't know, it's just cool. The Grand Army was designed to be very, very tanky, which fits the stubborn nature of the dwarves to a T. They stand in their deployment zone and this is so cancer. I mean, that's what dwarves do, though. The Grand Army was designed to be very, very tanky, which fits the stubborn nature of dwarves to a T. They stand in their deployment zone and blow the heck out of anything that comes near them. And they're immovable when charged. That's so unfun to even think about. Like, as an opponent, there's nothing fun about that. Dwarves are a foil to heavy cavalry armies because they are capable of forming a shield wall, which cavalry bounce off of. Pretty sure shield walls are what? You get to reroll or something? There are a couple of different dynamics here. The army is more maneuverable than it's ever been due to many units being drilled and using marching columns, which dwarf players have lacked in the past. They won't be able to use these qualities as well as the Empire might, but there are still tricks to be found. Combination of stubborn and shield wall. So that's like what? First time this unit is required to make a break test, it may choose not to, and it will automatically fall back in good order. Instead, if the unit strength of the winning side is more than twice of that losing side, a unit that is not stubborn does not become a stubborn unit when joined by a character that is. Okay? Stubborn character cannot use the special rule while part of a unit that is not stubborn. Alright, cool. I mean, I'm not, like, rule savvy, but I kind of know what they're getting at here. You don't get to kind of, like, break, you just hold. Once you actually fall back. It's not bad. Your unit doesn't get fucked. Combination of shield wall, which feels thematically dwarvish, and it's very strong. It cripples a fast charge and cavalry ability to follow up with lances. Dwarves won't break if they lose close combat, and they'll only give ground. Yeah, there you go, okay. Makes sense. I mean, dwarves don't really... dwarves would rather fight to the last than kind of, like, flee, you know? It's, like, not incredibly uncommon to see a dwarf kind of flee from battle, but, like, you would rather die standing your ground. Once per game during a turn in which it was charged, a unit with this special rule that is arrayed in a close order formation, and that is equipped with and chooses to use shields may give ground rather than fall back in good order. Oh, so you just give ground rather than fall... Okay. Just back up a little bit. Okay. Quite often, dwarf armies favor a strong core of units armed with handguns and crossbows, and a couple of anvil units. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the armies of infamy change how people approach building their armies. Are we going to see expeditionary forces with squadrons of gyrocopters and slayers rushing forwards? Slayers? Pretty sure slayers are garbage right now, no? And are the royal clans going to let their hammers, longbeards, and royal clan warriors... Royal clan warriors... Is that, like, a new subclass unit, or is it just, like, flavorful wording, right? Like, Royal Clan Warriors, to me, kind of sounds like an upgraded version, like a lesser Longbeard, but more of a warrior. Magic is a big factor in the old world. Dwarves have a magic defense and the Anvils of Doom. For even more counterplay, they have rune priests who, while not being wizards, are well versed in the arts of dispelling enemy magic. They're counter-magic wizards. Combine them with the innate magic resistance, and it's very difficult to afflict dwarves with hexes and magic missiles. From what I've been told, that's kind of BS, but, you know. Vortexes are more effective because they're cast around dwarves. But most spells are very hard to get off. And if you need to shut a wizard down further, take the rune of no magic for you, thanks. The Master Rune of Calm. The bearer of the Master Rune of Calm can cast the following bound spell with a power level of 2. If this bound spell is cast with a casting value of 8 or more, enemy wizards that are within 18 inches of this model when attempting to cast a spell must increase that spell's casting value by 2. Okay. I don't know if that's amazing. The Rune of Hesitation as well, where a charging unit loses many of its benefits. That's quite annoying. Runic tattoos are something new Runic tattoos are something new in the Arcane Journal for Slayers and Doomseekers. So runic tattoos, I believe in previous editions they actually gave them a 6-up ward. Or not necessarily a thing in previous editions, but it was mentioned somewhere, I believe, when I was reading it, that Slayers and their tattoos were actually kind of like runically powered in a way, so they don't take shooting as normal, or they have some sort of like, oh, Grimnir is watching us, will not be felled in, you know, shooting or something like that. So it's most likely a ward save for Slayers, which is interesting. Jimmy, yo, buddy, we're good. We're just reading the new article because we finally got what we wanted. Just took 4 months. Slayers can be taken as mercenaries in an Empire army and Doomseekers. That's cool. Lots of players enjoy fielding dragons and other big monsters, which dwarfs lack. But you know what's really good at killing dragons? Dwarf lords with runic weapons. I don't know about that one. Like, on paper, if the dragon wants to fly into your most expensive thing on the field, okay, it may die or have problems, but, like, cannons, if they were to pull anything off, sure, but, like, all you do is just avoid the big blocks of guys and run away. What about us high elf players? I feel like the elves are going to get something next. Like, the high elves should probably get a release up next, realistically. Because there's no elven things in Old World at all right now. Everything you need to make a good dwarf army will be released over the next couple of months. Okay, so all the cannons and everything else. Cool. Indeed, as we saw with the release of the Orcs and Goblins tribes, once an army becomes available and people begin to play more games with it, people learn what you can do with it. It takes a couple of months for everyone to adjust, and every game feels fresh. All right. The meta is going to do this every time a new faction is released. Remember, we have 9 core factions, of which only a third are available at present. We're letting things unfold naturally, but once the last faction has been released, everyone will be playing lots of Warhammer the Old World on a far more even field, complete with their grand army, their armies of infamy, and more. True. This was interesting. I was looking at this because I did skim the article. The mining cart has rules. The Bugman cart has rules. This is one of the... I believe this is a Thane. A Thane or King Sculpt. This is the new plastic Dwarf Lord or Thane on foot from the Shield Bearers kit. OG Engineer. Like, all of this stuff is OG. Like, OG, this came from the Miners kit. OG. All of this is OG but this guy. Which is fine. It's great. The Expeditionary Force plays quite different to a Dwarf army made up using the Grand Army list. The Engineers are much more offensive than a normal Dwarf army with some quicker moving units and lots of war machines. See, I feel like, for me, I would play the Expeditionary Force, again, just because I love the Dwarven engineering and rune side of things. The stores I used to go to told me I didn't have any skill to play Old World. I couldn't comprehend, but Old World sounds so cool. It's just, it's a little more nuanced because it's an older game and it's, there's a lot of, like, minute rules. It's just, they call it a specialist game, and specialist games typically have more of a, not gonna say complicated, but you have to kind of just remember a lot more than you would typically in, like, current Age of Sigmar or 40k. It's more flavorful, I guess is the way to put it. I've seen Dwarf players moaning daily on the GW Facebook posts. See, I would never go to their Facebook posts and complain, but I'm like, when are we going to get Dwarves? And the biggest thing is, you can't really get mad at Games Workshop because they know what they're capable of releasing, and if they don't have the space to do so, or the product ready, how can you release it? Can you blame them? Like, they're releasing so many more things and all this other crap going on, so you can't really be mad at them. You know, it's just when they come out, they should be prepared. Exactly. Oh, you got dwarves too? That's cool. I want to see them, dude. I love seeing dwarves. Rumors are Chaos and Empire next. That would be a good pairing. Yeah. That'd be a really good pairing. I do like the Empire. Chaos is cool. My buddy, when we used to play, had a big fucking Chaos army. The sculpts are always good. Definitely sounds cool. It's very cool. It's just Lord of the Rings, but, like, amped up tenfold. Like, you can't not like Lord of the Rings, you know? And Age of Sigmar 4th edition was just released, yeah. They're selling... So the idea of the old world is to basically go back through Games Workshop's history and sell you all of the older stuff that they once produced. Because what you have to realize is Warhammer Fantasy is their longest-lived standing miniature range. This shit, even before 40k, before anything else that they've done, like, Warhammer Fantasy Battles was their flagship thing. And over the years, they just built up an incredible amount of sculpts from, like, I don't know, 10 plus armies, 9 plus armies, something like that. And one day they just all went in the bin and they never came back. So basically what they're doing is they're reprinting their old stuff, selling it to you in new rules and new updated ways to play, while also bringing in a couple of new things. So, like, most of what you're seeing on this page was released, I believe, 2006-ish. The Dwarf Warriors, the guys with the handguns, 2007. The gyrocopters, I believe, were around, like, 2010 or something, 12, around that. But yes, a lot of these things are relatively old, and they're great. It's just they didn't want to sell them for the longest time, and now that they know they can make money out of it, that's what they're doing. The Expeditionary Force plays quite a bit differently to a Dwarf army made using the Grand Army list. The Engineers are much more offensive than normal Dwarf armies and quicker units with Slayers and War Machines and Black Powder and experimental gyrocopters tied together with new rules for range units. Experimental gyrocopters. There's two things so far that I've seen in this article that hint to me that there's new units, but more so you have to build them or upgrade them, like, thematically into units. So the Royal Clan Warriors, again, seem more of, like, a buffed-up version of just warriors. And then the experimental gyrocopters, which sounds horrifying if you're near that and you're a traditionalist. Good luck. But that's cool. Experimental gyrocopters and clan warriors. Royal. Tied together with new runes for ranged weapons. Lovely. Yeah, more runes, please. It allows us to explore the idea of what an Engineers Guild army might look like. This is not your classic throng of dwarfs defending a hold or heading out to slay a monster. This is a guild investing in adventure. Yeah, alright. Miners have a major role to play, and there are rules for carts, specifically the one you get in their box, plus the old Bugman's cart. So they're giving the Grudge Pony, I believe is what they called it during the Battle for Skull Pass. But basically, in the Dwarven Miners kit, so like right here, the plastics, you were given a lot of flavorful bits, so you get a bunch of, like, standalone pickaxes, you get a mining drill, like, you get a pony with a laser, which actually is on his back right now, you just can't really see it, and you get the cart. So it just kind of did nothing, you know, when you did get it, but now at least you can use it, and that's cool as shit. Because again, like, Warhammer Fantasy, at least for the Dwarven stuff, actually not even just for the Dwarven stuff, I believe most of the fantasy bits had pieces that were very much just for fun. So the Empire had, like, a little powder monkey, Britonia had a bunch of, like, little books and boxes and, you know, sometimes casks of, like, wine, shit like that. In the Empire Archer Sprue way back when, there was a wounded orc warrior, like an orc boy, and he was laying on the ground with an arrow stuck in his chest. And that was all for free. Like, these kits had a lot of just cool tidbits that you could get, right? Yeah, the Flagellants had a bunch of bits. But the Dwarven Miners had a shit ton. Like, if there was any flavorful unit bit-wise, I believe the Dwarven Miners had the best bout of them. They had, like, C4, they had, like, a little goblin stuck in a cage with a lantern. They just had a bunch of cool shit. Blasting charges, whatever it may be. They are particularly useful for engineers. The Miner's Cart is full of blasting charges, so any unit nearby can start hurling explosives at the enemy. The Miner's Cart is full of blasting charges, so any unit nearby can start hurling explosives at the enemy. So what if you had Slayers and a mining cart roll up the field, and you had Slayers throwing blasting charges and then charging? Bugman's cart does what you would imagine it would do. It raises the spirits of dwarves in the vicinity and gives them... Okay, they just run around faster, probably like +2 move speed, maybe +1. It's nice to give these models a purpose rather than using it as a dressing. Yeah, true. Cool. The Engineers also get Scout Gyrocopters, cool, which have a lot... Another new unit. Experimental gyrocopters and scout gyrocopters, which have lighter weapons and no bombs. This is an option that can be assembled straight from the box, so no kit bashing is required. Oh, I think I know what they want you to do with this. So a scout gyrocopter will more than likely be built from a gyrocopter, and they say no bombs, so the way it'll work is you're just going to give it the gyro bomber wings, because the gyro bomber wings don't have the gyro bombs. That's cool. Yeah, another new option. Maybe they add them in Total War. I don't know about that. Peace to you, buddy. I think I have that. I don't know if it's, like, fan-made or not. Like, you're talking about my playlist? I don't really use a playlist, but the only one I have is, like, Tobias Fate official playlist. But I wouldn't be using that too much. It's a fast-moving skirmish unit with a tapping weapon. It's not a gunship, but it can zip around the flanks and annoy enemy war machines. So we're thinking, like, clattergun. It's basically like a kit-bashed gyrocopter gyro bomber. That's exactly what this is. So cool. I see 3 new units. An experimental gyro, a scout gyro, and a Royal Clan warrior unit. That's maybe flavor text for, like, the previous, but that's cool. More units, great. The new Dwarf Lord kit, cool. Just old stuff, then. The other army of infamy is the Royal Clan. This is for the old grumblers and the longbeards, the traditionalists, the dwarfiest of dwarf armies. This is the king or the queen's family and their household. They're very wealthy and very set in their ways, so they don't use black powder or newfangled contraptions. But they do have a lot of money to spend on runes, and there are some very tasty options as a result. Interesting, okay. There are Royal Clan warriors, which you build from the Hammerer's kit using the hand weapon and shields found on the frame. They literally tell you right here. As members of the Royal Clan, they're just that little bit better than ordinary dwarf warriors. One of the big things we're trying to do with every army is find options that exist on the sprue to give players more of an opportunity to kit bash. Okay, I literally just said that, so that's cool. So essentially what you're doing is making you're making Royal Clan warriors with the Longbeard shields and hand weapons. Yeah, that is... I mean, again, like I said, you have a lot of these options in these kits. As an example, we'll take a look at the... just as an example. So here you have a... Oh, this was something I was converting. I'm trying to, like, mock up a ranger at ease pose, but... the idea is... So... This kit right here, in particular, this is like the Dwarven Thunderers, the Quarrelers. It's their ranged units. You purchase 1 box of guys, and you're given the option of building 3 separate units. You can build the Thunderers, which are your handgunners. You can build the Quarrelers, which are your crossbowmen. Or you can take it to the next step and build Rangers. Rangers are a little bit different. Just because you could kind of like proxy Quarrelers as Rangers and vice versa. There wasn't really any defining feature in the kit outside of, like... The worst thing, literally the worst thing, if you wanted to make a ranger, you would clip this off the sprue, and you would, like, glue it onto their back, and that's your ranger, right? But it's the idea that these kits were kind of just... You were able to make more than just one thing. You know, typical Games Workshop now, you maybe get, like, weapon options. That is still true to what Fantasy had, but, like, you get more in the way of, what's the word? You get the options, but why couldn't you kit bash both? You know what I mean? So, like, for the sake of the Longbeards and the Hammerers, they give you so many bits. So many bits. And you essentially buy 2 boxes of units at once, but the only thing it comes with that you can't replicate are the bodies. So these bodies right here, these are for like the Iron Drakes and the Iron Breakers. These are the only things that are consistent throughout both units. You build the bodies, and then you say, okay, do I want Iron Breakers? Well, I give them these heads, and then I give them hand weapons, and I give them shields. Or do I want to make Iron Drakes, and then I give them Drake guns? And different Iron Drake heads that kind of, like, block out their beards. So, you have all of these bits in all of these kits. Why couldn't you kit bash them instead of making, like, again, like a Space Marine unit that has X gun, or a Space Marine unit that has X gun? Why couldn't you kind of, like, put over a shield on the other guy's kit, or, you know, move over a hand weapon into the other build configuration? So I think that's what they're doing right now. That's the idea with all of these kits. Like, even the gyro bomber, the gyrocopter, they give you so many parts to basically make the bomber or the copter, but why couldn't you kit bash them to make something new? So this is what they're doing. If that makes any sense, maybe I kind of, like, muddied it up a bit with how I'm explaining it, but that's the gist of it. So yeah. Last time I played tabletop Warhammer, are you talking about, like, tabletop sim was probably years ago, but, like, actual tabletop was most definitely right before fantasy died. But yes, these new ideas where using different bits from the same kit, but to kit bash new units, kind of like to Frankenstein units is the best way to put it, is very cool because it opens up options for, like, just creating new units, and that's what they did. So anyways, I'm not going to keep rambling about that. It's just a cool idea. There are Royal Clan Warriors, which you build from the Hammers kit using hand weapons and shields found in the frame. As the Royal Clan Warriors, they're just a bit better than ordinary Dwarf Warriors. One of the big things we're trying to do with every army is find options that exist on the sprue to give players more of an opportunity to kit bash. There you go, cool. We want something that existing collectors of armies can get excited about. These armies of infamy allow veteran players to get enthused about a different facet of their existing force, and to add new units to their existing collection. The Royal Clan is the kind of army that long-standing Dwarf players might see and think, that's my kind of army, whereas the Expeditionary Force is something other players might consider exciting. True, that basically completely sums it up. They're the younger dwarves who are more interested in being a bit more experimental. It's nice to have that contrast and appeal to very different players. And that is kind of just a very big thing in Dwarven society anyways, where, like, you will have a lot of these old grumbling boomers who don't want to change, who don't want innovation, who just want to kind of sit in their ancestor ways and kind of exist. And that's also in part to their decline. When you don't want to improve, when you think everything is good because your ancestors did it and you can't improve anywhere, then you just hardcore go on the decline. So in a way, like, things like the Expeditionary Force and, you know, the Beardlings who are kind of trying to be innovative, that absolutely would further their race along instead of just living in stagnation, you know? But then again, the dwarves have always kind of endured through determination and, like, revering the ancestors, and, you know, their ways were perfect, gear can't be improved. So it's a little bit of a two-way, you know, idea where they are strong enough, they have the experience, they have the knowledge to exist, but they kind of don't go anywhere, but they can survive. Versus, like, again, trying to maybe better the race through technologies and different things that they can cook up. That's cool. We haven't done the Slayer army, which people might have expected, in the same way that we didn't do the Night... Holy shit, that thunder was fucking crazy. Do you hear that? Moji! We're not dead yet, it's fine. Did you hear that thunder? Holy fuck. Jesus, that was close. Moji, it's fine. Oh my god, we're gonna die. You know, maybe it wouldn't be wise to be streaming. Hang on, let me turn the music down, and also Mochi's still barking. Mochi! Mochi! Mochi, it's okay, stop. It's okay. Oh my god, dude. We haven't done the Slayer army, which people might have expected. I've already read that. In the same way we didn't do Night Goblins. Hey! No, Mochi, no! bad. I can't control this beast. He doesn't respect me. It's almost too obvious, so maybe we're saving them for the future. You can build a Slayer-heavy army if you take Ungrim Ironfist as the general of a royal clan. He is the king of Slayers, after all. Okay. There are loads of awesome things we'd have loved to have done straight out of the gate, but some of those armies are so cool, thematic, and popular that they warrant taking the time to be done right. There are only a finite number of pages in the Arcane Journal, and I've got a big list of themes we've not explored yet. There's a lot in the cupboard still. In fact, most of the ideas the fans have had are almost certainly ideas we've also discussed. After all, we're old world fans as well, and we get to talk about this stuff a lot. So the dwarf lore, the lore of the dwarfs, and yeah, during the time period, Thursday. Dwarfs tend to be big fans of a shapely pony and a well-turned wheel. Okay, what does that even mean? Like, I understand that dwarves, I mean, favoring ponies to do anything, that's as, like, far as they're gonna go. Ponies and wheels? No more animals, that's it. We don't like animals. So, honestly, so far so cool. Again, I think there's, like... I wonder how they want you to convert the royal clan warriors. So, like, maybe you buy dwarf warriors? Well, how do they say this? The royal clan warriors. Which you build from the hammerer's kit using the hand weapon and shields found on the frame. You know what's really interesting to me is they say you build it from the hammerer's kit. So traditionally, hammerers came in part with, like, longbeards. You had a 50-50 kit. You built the longbeards or you built the hammers. So I'm wondering if they actually went back in and kind of, like, somehow cleaned out the longbeards so they could sell it to you separately. Because the hand weapons and shields from the hammerer's kit belong to the longbeards. Yeah, that's not the hammerer stuff. But you know what's interesting is, like, they're not even shown here anywhere. So these are longbeards, hammerers, warriors, quarrelers. Very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, cool article. I guess we're going to see when more stuff comes out on it, but, like, I'm very much so interested in the engineering side of things. Like, you know, typical classic old Dowie is amazing, don't get me wrong, but I kind of like the powder weaponry. I like, you know, Zufbar and their creations. Like, for God's sake, they were going to make a fucking tank and it never came out. Like, that's cool. That's dwarvish. Interesting. All right. Cool. So that's the article. Lovely. Very intriguing indeed. I guess we'll see at the end of this week. Toby's yo, buddy. Interesting. I do like what I'm reading. I think what's going to happen is, it's going to come out and everyone's still going to be surprised. I like the idea of the, again, I think it's really cool for, like, hobbyists to be able to create new units. Because I know when it comes to being a gamer, and, you know, you're a real gamer, and, you know, forget the models, forget the hobby, forget everything, you just want, like, new rules to fuck around with. That is fun. But imagine all of the hobby opportunities you get now with, like, converting different things. Like, you could really go in and make, like, the royal clan warriors look pretty decked out. I don't know how they want you to build them, outside of, like, 2 bits. But maybe it'll be, a sort of kit bash your own type of deal, right? Maybe they do come from dwarf warrior sprues, and you just kind of give them, like, good-looking hand weapons and shields. Maybe that's it. I have no idea. Warhammer Fantasy was always a little bit more lenient on that, where you could kind of like create your own stuff, because not every mini, not every unit who had a rule had a mini, and they've still followed in that kind of, you know, way of making things, where I believe the Orcs and Goblins have characters but no minis. So I guess we'll see how that goes. We shall see when it comes out. Oh, I just stabbed myself. Don't look, I'm bleeding. I'm not kidding. That was the first time in years. Holy, I got myself. I nicked my finger. I'll go get a Band-Aid in a sec. Where's your finger condom, sir? Yeah, well, there you go. You just... What's the word? You jinxed it. I haven't cut myself in fucking years. Damn. Knock on wood, eh? All good things must come with bad ones. We get dwarves and then we get poked. Okay, let me go clean it real quick and I'll be back. Is it even bad? It's not even bad. You can't even see it. It's a literal pinprick. BRB. He put a hex on me, Chaos Worshipper. Ow, ow. Nothing crazy. All right, we're here. We're good. The consequences of not joining the greater good. Ooh, the Tau. Disgusting. Ooh. So we're good. All right. Cool. I like the article, though, man. It was an interesting, fun read of more Dwarven miniatures by giving you the same Dwarven miniatures. That's what people want. Cool way of reusing bits that you don't use. I love it. Get more bang for your buck with the kit. Cool. All right. Yes, big Kappa. That was 100. You just gave me 100 bits. Thank you, sir. That's no joke. That's a lot of bits. I mean, you should be changing out your blade a little bit, I suppose. It's always good to kind of work with a sharp tip. Not even a tip, just blade in general. Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's a weird new feature. I was looking at that last night. I was giving myself the same thing, like I was making the emotes bigger, and I'm like, am I really spending fucking points on this? But if you're the streamer, you get them for free on your own channel, so that's cool. This is going to take a very long time. Also, by the way, the prices, I don't know if anyone's seen the prices for the new Dwarven stuff. Supposedly. I mean, not even supposedly. You can kind of just gauge it from, like, looking at the other old world stuff, but these were supposed to be from local game stores, and it's all in USD. So, like, a box of 20 hammerers with the discount is 85 USD. That's like... It's interesting that they are now giving you twice as many miniatures and charging twice as much money. Like, no shit they would do that, obviously. But it's the idea of maybe spending $100+ on one box of guys instead of maybe half of that. Because what if you don't need 20? Right? Like, Iron Drakes right now... Actually, you know what? The Iron Breakers and the Iron Drakes should be in the same box. So you'd get 20 Iron Drakes for $85. And you'd chop them into, like, 4 units of 5 or something, or maybe, like, 2 units of 10. Dwarf Warriors are 85, and I think they come with, like, what, 32, 36? The fucking dice are $44. I'm buying the dice. But they're $44. The Shield Bearer kit is 52 USD, and remember, these are with discounts. This is discounted. That's a lot. Like, Canadian, you're looking at God knows how much for all this without the discount. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that is, like, the actual listed price, but, like, I believe the person who posted it said it was, like, local game store prices. I don't think they're going to have round bases, because that's just kind of a waste of money for Games Workshop to give you both. I think they're going to rebrand the boxes for Age of Sigmar specifically and give you sphere bases, which makes the most sense. Or circular bases. I don't think it's feasible for Games Workshop to give you 20 squares and 20 circles, you know? Even if you are paying like $100. The Cities of Sigmar dwarves made it through. Their rule sheet's already been shown. Like, GW officially showed all of the same dwarven units in the Cities of Sigmar. It's a downloadable PDF from GW that was recently released. So all of the dwarves and cities are coming back, probably as a rebrand. Yeah. Which is stupid. Like, they really... Like, the Cogsmith. You know, God forbid you take the Cogsmith, but he buffs gyrocopters. Like, it just seems a little lazy to kind of just keep using miniatures and having, like, really jank rules to go along with them. I guess it's better than nothing, but I feel like eventually they're just going to be straight up gone. Oh, they're gone for now. Like, they're getting their Reeboks. They're going to put them back in, I'm sure. There is no reason the units would ever only be in the Old World section, so, like, if you want to play Age of Sigmar, a guy's going to have to tell you, okay, go buy them in the Old World. No. They'll rebox them and, like, rebrand them. That's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna say this. Cities of Sigmar will develop Age of Sigmar dwarves and elves, and will cut every single fantasy thing from that line. They will develop probably 1 to 3 units of each as a way to kind of work in tandem with the humans, but the humans are the main focus. And then everything else will get slotted back into Age of Sigmar. Or Warhammer Fantasy. Old World. That's what I believe they're going to do. Like, I don't mind the ability to use fantasy miniatures in Age of Sigmar, but now that the Old World is back, I kind of like that distinction, and I feel like Games Workshop should also just kind of go along with it. A lot of people don't agree, saying, like, you know, why shouldn't you have fantasy miniatures in Age of Sigmar and all this? Aesthetically, your choice. They all look great, whatever you decide to field. But I think from, like, a lore perspective, it would be very cool to see the advancement of things from what the world was at one point to where it is now in the Age of Sigmar. Right? Like, you would still have dwarves looking like dwarves, but they would look more in line with, like, what their new world has to offer. It's not like you'd see a one-to-one copy of, like, Malachi Makaisen in Old World, and then, oh my god, he's back in Age of Sigmar, and this is the mini. It's like, nah. The distinction of just evolution, I guess, is cool. Where they once were and where they are now. So, selling minis that are not really marketed as being both is cool. I know, ogre armies literally would be gone. That is true, but, like, wouldn't you want new ogre sculpts? Wouldn't you want new takes on the ogre sculpts, but, like, ones that are in the vein of, like, the Skaven, where the Skaven just got better looking, not worse? Or just updated 4K, you know? Subjectively, they could be better, they could be worse. But you are right. The entire ogre army is straight up from Warhammer Fantasy. Excluding the Yeti. Or whatever they're called now. I think it was the Gorgers, actually, not the Yeti. Wampa. Beast, that's what I'm thinking they're doing with the Beastman. Like, again, like I said, I genuinely don't like the idea that fantasy minis are in Age of Sigmar, only for that idea of distinction. Like, some things won't change, like, you know, Skaven clan rats are clan rats, whatever, but they can still kind of have that Age of Sigmar look. But, you know, choose what you want. It's a game of aesthetics, and, like, if your army is cool, that's all that matters. You don't want to field an army that you don't like the look of, because you don't want to play at that point. Snorkel, yo, buddy. Just sold my first piece of the pile of shame. We're talking cash dollars. We're making cash dollars. You want to buy some of my shame with that money? Why not? That's a good idea. Rain's Dinio, buddy. No, I didn't see your DM yet. I'll look in a little bit. Not yet. Day's pretty alright. We're chilling. We have a big fucking thunderstorm here. It seems. Very, very big. Fucking things are gonna take forever. God damn. Alright. Hmm. Okay, let me take a look. Hey, what the fuck? Are you here, Rainston? Oh yeah, how'd that go? That doesn't sound too good. Like, how is that going? Yeah. Damn. I mean, that is like, yeah, I don't know, man. That's, who knows what it is? Yeah. Well, I mean, take care of yourself, dude. Get that shit checked out even more, you know? See what's up, what they can do for you. Life is a very mixed bag of things. Nobody knows. I feel like the thing about men, as a man, as a manly man, they just, we don't care about, you know, oh, I feel like shit, okay, I'll sleep it off. Oh, I feel like this, I'll sleep it off, whatever it may be. But, like, they always say for anything you should go get checked out, you know? Go in and just ask people who kind of know what they're doing. Skroka, yo, buddy. Yeah, good luck with that, man, honestly. When you decide to do anything, I'm sure people would want to know. Second opinion? I mean, as many opinions from people who know what they're talking about is good. Yeah. Absolutely. I live by, it will be better in a week and just sleep it off. I'll see a lot of people do that, but sometimes that's not it. And that's like the worst thing to do. Yeah. I'm due for like some doctor's appointments, like just a bunch of shit. Yo, I gotta zoom in this much too when I try and see myself. Besides all that, I do not have the dexterity to do this or the creativity. I'm a paramedic in SK for 12 years. Okay. And the amount of men I see who call too late when they're actually sick, it makes me yeah. Yeah. That's always the case with guys. It's just like, you know, we feel a certain way and we'll sleep it off because we're men and, like, we don't give a fuck, right? Like, oh, it's a headache. Oh, it's a fucking, you know, oh, my nut hurts, whatever it may be. But, like, you should go. It's fucking miserable to go, don't get me wrong. No one wants to sit in a hospital. No one wants to do anything. But, like, you should be going. You should. And it would be great if you had people in your family who are kind of into that stuff, you know, who worked in health for whatever field it may be. You could ask them for opinions. Healthcare in Canada is in ruins. I haven't been a part of that in a while. I just haven't felt like shit. My girlfriend typically goes quite a bit. She's like, oh, I have a headache. I'm going to the ER room. Like, what? Yeah. What camera am I using? Logitech Brio. It's a webcam. Yeah, it's good to go get it checked out. Yeah. I mean, my uncle... my uncle last year and a half died of cancer. And I believe he, in most cases, you know, I believe he said he felt bad, but, like, he didn't go get it checked out and all this stuff, and then it was too late. And, I don't know, it's just... We hold off on things that we can kind of dismiss as like, it'll just get better. When we're dramatic, my sister went to A&E because her arm was hurting. Some people are more health conscious than others, I think, is a way of looking at it as well. So, you know, everyone's different. Everyone's like, it's not a problem till it's a problem. That's not fucking true at all. Yeah. Yeah, we glue stuff together. My shins have been fucked up for half a year. Maybe I should check it out. Yeah, maybe you should. Again, it's the idea of just going, right? You don't want to go. It's too much work. I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to do this. Yeah, you're right. You are right. People need to stop going for shit like that. And the thing is, it was well, first of all, she would want to go, but she wouldn't go, I guess, is the better way of how I should have explained it. Yeah. Like, I tell her, she's like, oh, my toe hurts. I'm gonna die. It's fucking gout. I'm like, what? I say, sleep it off, have some water, take a medicine, whatever it may be. I'll get you some food. Come back, talk to me tomorrow morning. And she does, and she's like, oh, I feel great. So, yeah, you know. You don't need to go for everything, especially in the U.S. Don't go in the U.S. You go broke if you go in the U.S. Again, more people are just health conscious. I can't blame them. I'm just kind of living in the moment. If shit happens, it happens. I'm not someone who kind of dwells on the past, and if it was in the past, it's like, you can't change it. It is what it is. But this minor cut will cost you $500. Bro thinks $500. Ooh. People always say in the US they'd rather be at home dying than spending like tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah, that is true. Knowing what's reasonable to actually go in for and how to kind of treat yourself to a degree at home. Not like save yourself, but, you know. Or maybe save yourself. Removing my appendix on the couch as we speak. Yeah, I don't know about that. Bro, look at this guy's chunky ass arm. It was never really designed to be like that. It was actually, I mean, it's designed to be like that, but it's more so just because you have it pressed against the fucking Dwarf Warrior's body, so you don't really see it. Like, once it's in its socket, but that's funny. None of this is an emergency. Yeah, that's people with anxiety, for sure, right? Again, there's people out there who are always kind of very health conscious and will go for anything. My girlfriend is that way, like I said, but she rarely will she want to go to the ER. She always tells me, I need to go sit there. I gotta like get taken care of. And I always tell her, I'm like, give it a day. But yeah, everyone is different. It may be frustrating and like kind of a waste of time in some cases, but I can't blame some people for how they think. Everyone's just kind of coded differently. Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That's a good way of putting it. People actually have problems, like real health problems. Just taking that time away from other people who actually may be in real trouble. Let me, I'm gonna make a new tab in the Discord. Text. Let's put it, but it seems like it just never ends. That could be, like, real problems, or is that, like, kind of, oh, mentally I have this problem, so I'm gonna go get it checked out? Because, I mean, again, people are different, right? Anxiety is a big problem when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how people view it here. The ER is just kind of this open clinic, go in, get seen for anything, but, like, you really need to be in some not the best of shapes to go. For sure. Oh, wow. Well, I guess some people are a little bit unluckier than others, right? Like, genetics, just a ton of stuff. Are you trying to add texture? No, I'm just cleaning up pieces. Basically, you can see from here. See that line on the right one? See that very clear line that you can kind of like put your nail on and it won't... I'm just cleaning up all the problems. Like, see, this is cleaned. This isn't cleaned. You can kind of see where they're at. Yeah. Just a few inconsistencies. Or consistencies, I should say. Damn. Yeah, that sucks. At least going will give you a peace of mind, you know? Or will give you peace of mind, I should say. Third time in a few weeks? Jesus. If you get sick in Algeria, North Africa, it's over. I don't know, buddy. You do the best you can, and whatever life gives you, you just kind of look at it and say, that's life. And as crazy as it seems, shit gets unlucky and stomps on your dreams. But not always, you know? Mochi! Mochi's having a dream. Couldn't wreck you, buddy. What is he dreaming about? I have no idea, but he makes a lot of like, and he lays on the ground like fucking, like, kind of going up and down. So I have no idea what he's dreaming about, but I hope he's good. He's done it a few times. It's kind of weird first time around, but then you kind of get used to it. I do paint them sometimes, but like I haven't in a while, just because I haven't been here in a while. So like I will be painting when I'm done building my entire army. Medicine has come a long way, but with our immune system has gotten weaker because of that. Vaccines are more important, so vaccines are important, so I'm glad we have those. Yeah, I mean, certain vaccines. I ain't talking about much, but as long as everything's tested and we're all good and we're healthy and safe, that's what I'm for. Do I like the new dwarf characters? Well, they're not really new, more so like brought back. Like you've got Thorgrim, young Thorgrim. Well, polio, yeah, okay, yeah. You don't want no polio. Young Thorgrim, you've got young Ungrim, you've got Burlock Damonson. So like characters that we definitely know, it's just their earlier incarnations. Yeah. Well, Thorgrim only becomes king after the Great War of Chaos. So like the war that is gearing up in the old world, King Ulrichson, having felt his age and, you know, the bite of battle, decides to get everyone together and then, you know, go do deeds of great importance for the Dwarven Empire. And so Thorgrim kind of like brings back relics and also reunites the Karazhan Corps with like Norse dwarves, which is a big deal because like dwarves are always keen on old things and, you know, rekindling with like different holds that have been lost to centuries and whatnot. They're always about reclamation and, you know, bringing back some of that goodness that they once had. So he becomes High King after the War of Chaos, the Great War of Chaos, which is where, again, the old world kind of takes place. Well, not with Chaos Dwarves. Like, that is so far gone. But we're talking, like, Lost Holds and, you know, different relics and runes and whatnot. Anything to kind of, like, draw them closer to their ancestor gods, right? Because that, for them, is their peak. That is, like, that is their salvation. Yeah, Norse Dwarves are cool. I don't mind them. You really need to be a different type of breed to live up in Norska. Like, you really gotta be a different breed of dwarf. It's completely different from 40k to fantasy. Yeah. Thorgrim Ulluxson. One of the founding clans of Razakarak that have ties to, like, the ancestor gods. Or rather, the first High King. They were there when Snorri Whitebeard... Although Snorri wasn't the first High King, but, like, one of the older High Kings. Right? Because that would be a very, very long bloodline. If you're tied to the ancestor gods, that's a long fucking time. But you gotta have royal blood from somewhere. A lot of the older High Kings, the only ones that are, like, notable through anything was, like, Kurgan Ironbeard, which was, the guy who Sigmar saved, and then, you know, he gifted him Galmaraz and made the Rune Fangs to kind of unite the Empire. Or not unite the Empire, but more so create, like, something notable. Was that the Rune Fang era? Was that it? I think it was Magnus who actually did that to the Empire. I think Sigmar just got Galmaraz. I don't think the Rune Fangs were made at that point. I'm very shaky on, like, my Empire lore, even though dwarves kind of share a similar past in a way, just because they kind of united and, you know, held back the orcs at, like, Blackfire Pass and whatnot. But yeah, dwarves and humans, they kind of have history. They go back. I mean, one is like a short version of a human, the other one is a human, but at least aesthetically. But I believe it was like, what, Kurgan Ironbeard, Snorri Whitebeard, Thorgrim, as, like, most of the notable High Kings. Escaped his containment so he could witness Sigmar. Yeah, Gorbad is cool. Gorbad was such a sidelined character. I've always loved Gorbad. But he's really just of the history books at this point, you know? He's dead. He's gone. Let me actually look up when the Rune Fangs were forged. Now I'm, like, very curious. I don't think it was when... Was it when they saved Sigmar? Or they saved Ironbeard? Rune Fangs. Warhammer. Ulrich the Mad. Okay, right. It was the guy who made the fucking Nemesis crown, I believe. The Rune Fangs were created by the renowned dwarf runesmith Ulrich the Mad and were intended for the 12 tribal leaders of men in the northern Old World, who had united under the first Emperor of Man's rule. Okay, so actually it was created around that time then. I guess I was just weird about it. I was right. Battle of Blackfire Pass. Only one of the Rune Fangs, most likely the one that currently belongs to the Elector Count of Midland, was used in the battle before this. Blah, 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 okay. Yeah, cool. Very cool. Yeah, when it comes to dwarves, though, they're very much ingrained with, like, the Empire. When you've got two sentient races who are very much physically alike and aren't warring and, you know, barbarous and whatnot, even though fucking Sigmar's people were barbarians. Which, humans, whatever, but... That's cool. Yeah, alright. The tribes of men. Yeah, the history of Warhammer isn't very... It's not very talked about, like, the old stuff, just because it's not... Well, you know, it's interesting, because, like, when it comes to Warhammer 40k and kind of the Horus Heresy, everyone loves the Horus Heresy. If you're really ingrained in, like, Space Marines and 40k, and the Primarchs, the Horus Heresy is a big stepping stone in, like, the history of everything 40k. But when it comes to Warhammer Fantasy, you don't really need to know about the Empire. You don't need to know about Kurgan Ironbeard being saved by Sigmar and the gift of Gal Maraz. You don't need to know that stuff. It forms the Empire, but maybe you're just not interested. And you could say the same thing for the Horus Heresy, but the Horus Heresy is like a billion times bigger. It's a completely different setting, completely different worlds, everything is different. The only thing that's a constant is chaos, yeah. Just because apparently evil is so evil, or the evil is so bad, that, like, you know, it's a constant in these worlds. I do like the idea of the Chaos Gods, though, being able to, like, transcend like universes. You know? It's like, oh, we've got Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, whatever, in fantasy, and then we've got them in 40k as well. Like, whether or not that's very much so intended, or just we need evil, like, it's just a cool idea, where they're just kind of, if both worlds existed in a timeline just extremely far apart, that you can't really... like, evil will always kind of be there. They're, timeless, you know? I don't know. I don't fuck with Chaos Dwarves. I'm not a Chaos Dwarf aficionado. As much as it would be great to kind of know everything, they're not my people. I don't claim Chaos Dwarves. As great as it would be to know everything Warhammer related, there's so many fucking books and different things where, like, lore is prevalent, right? Like roleplay books, like supplements, army books, novels, entire different series of, like, you know, you got the end time shit, you got the War of Vengeance, you got all the fucking different omnibuses that encapsulate all that shit. There's just so much. Like, Warhammer Fantasy's been going on forever, and for that reason, you've got a lot of content. But to own and read all of it, yeah, it's all canon. Well, 90% plus, yeah. Like, certain books kind of do it poorly, and it's like, really? Because then it doesn't line up eventually, but, like, yes, it's all canon. Like, there's so much content. So much content. I mean, for God's sake, look at 40k. You think Warhammer Fantasy is long. The Horus Heresy is a 50-plus book series. If you're a completionist and want to read all of it, great. Like, the longest standing Warhammer Fantasy series, I believe, is Gotrek and Felix. Gotrek and Felix, I think, spans... realistically, 14 core books, followed by... like, anywhere from... I mean, there's, like, what, 30 short stories or something, and then you've got all the standalone novels that kind of tie into, like, the timeline, but they're not relevant in reading. They're more of, like, these off adventures. Then you've got, like, audio dramas. Like, there's a lot, but it still isn't as much as the Horus Heresy. It's not even close. Perspective swap books. I mean, you don't need to read all of it. Again, you can get the gist of it, but, like, a lot of those books, I'm assuming, have a lot of flavor involved, you know? And flavor is good if you want to read everything to get a perfect understanding of what everyone's thinking and what's kind of going on. Watching all of One Piece may not be possible. There's 6 Gotrek and Felix omnibuses, the complete versions. There's 6 of them. Like, the latest versions of the omnibuses are the ones you should be reading, just because they have the short stories. Heinrich Kemmler was my first favorite character. He was, like, the OG, right? Kemmler was, like, the first big bad OG. One of. He's in the Gotrek and Felix books, and he is a fucking vile human. A vile, wretched, horrid necromancer. I have not read if he did get a standalone novel. I have not read that one, but I have read all of Gotrek and Felix, and when he shows up, he's just deplorable. As he should be. He's a necromancer. There's a few Skaven books, I believe. And they also have the Skaven one-off, like, Black Library, the Vile Rat Men in there, like, something kind. I don't know if you know Grudge Lore. Grudge Lore is, it's a history of grudges and, like, Dwarven, just, like, the Dwarven race. They did one for Skaven as well. Kind of an older book. But, yeah, I love the books. Anything that can kind of, like... anything you can know more of a universe with is amazing. Well, Warhammer can be seen as, like, a cure-all hobby. You've got miniatures, you've got gaming, you've got video games, you've got books. There is no shortage of information or, like, things to do in Warhammer. It really is, like, again, the cure-all hobby. It's got everything. It's got collectibles as well. You want to collect fucking Warhammer shit on top of doing the hobby and reading and everything. It's, like, endless. Stabbed it. For the first time in, like, 10 years. Opened the first cast of a Dwarven Mini. That thing is sick. I love that thing. No, I've collected, like, weird shit for ages. Even before being a streamer, I always fucking hoarded, like, things I enjoyed. You can blame my mother. She's the same way. Yeah, I've got Slayers. I'm gonna use the GW ones. The Ali Morrison sculpts. No, they look great. I don't even think they look funny. I love the look of Slayers. To me, Slayers are, like, probably the most iconic Dwarven thing ever. Because they are officially, like, a Games Workshop original. They don't kind of pull from anywhere. Maybe just, like, you know, dying and, oh, I got Valhalla, you know, whatever, right? But it's very much more so an original thing for GW. Versus, like, your typical Tolkien dwarves living in a mountain, smithing and mining and whatever. I love the old metal minis. You don't like those? Really? They're iconic. I have a bunch more, but these are the only ones. These are some. Oh, there's Gotrek and Felix in here. And Garagrim? Wait, these aren't even them. Well, these are Slayer characters. Hang on. You don't like these? These are amazing. I love these. Yeah, they're great. Oops, hang on. I mean, looking at the new Ungrim, you can be upset, but like... Bro, how you gonna argue with Gotrek Gurnison? Look at him, brother. Damn, Gotrek! He good. I mean, they're old, but... they've got their charm. Snorri. Snorri Nosebiter. They got their charm. In most of the promotional work for Games Workshop, they always advertise Slayers. Slayers were just kind of like such a defining, you know what it is when you see it because of like the orange crest and the orange beard. Looking at Ungrim, I want that type of Slayer. I mean, I'm just gonna say for me, I don't want that. I love the old sculpts. I grew up with the old sculpts, so like nostalgia is very much here for me. But I still genuinely do think they're good sculpts. You could find 3D prints. I don't have the nostalgia. Yeah, it's just something I grew up with, so I love it even more. But I genuinely think they look good. I feel like as someone coming from... you have the Total War spell? Okay, you're not going to like them then. Like, they're a little bit cartoony, in a way. Kind of hard to explain, but they have, like, accentuated proportions and things. But, like, that's also kind of why they're so appealing. They're all hand-sculpted. The new stuff is all digital. It's been digital for a while. But there's something about hand-sculpted materials that just looks... like, as an example, this was hand-sculpted. Right? Does this look weird? Does this look out of place? Malachi was hand-sculpted. They're just dated. That's, okay, fair, but... they just have so many versions of Slayers, you're never going to get new ones. Like, they'd rather just sell you old ones instead of making new ones, because new ones cost a lot of money to make. Again, it just boils down to, like, aesthetic. Warriors, Hammers, Ironbreakers, etc., they look great. I actually... I mean, I like the later plastics, so, like, yeah, the Hammers, the long beards, stuff like that. But I still prefer the Dwarf Warriors and the Quarrelers. Like, I will always prefer this aesthetic. It's just, I don't know, it's just the generic dwarf. Like, you can't go wrong with just a guy who's trying to, like, protect his own, you know? It's just so standard. There's nothing to hate about it. Right? It's great. It's just really good. Well, dated in terms of aesthetic, right? What he means by dated is it doesn't look good of the time. Dated doesn't necessarily mean it has no value or it's not appreciated. It's just when you compare the current look of things, it could look like it doesn't belong in that era. That's kind of it, I suppose, right? Everyone has their own aesthetic appeal. And, you know, some people who are, like, real boomers, I don't know if you've seen those Imperial Dwarves, the old Marauder, like... Let me just show you. As an example, you've got people out here who are like, these aren't my dwarves. This isn't my king. Who are these idiots? This guy, stupid hat. These are horrible. Why is their hair not orange? True, though. And then you've got people who are like, this is peak dwarf. Like, I'm in groups, and I've seen people literally talk about hating everything new for dwarves. And then they're like, this is the classic. And it's like they're coughing up dust, and they're fucking, like, leaving their crypts. Like, it's just subjective, you know? Nostalgia is a big part in kind of how you enjoy things, but, like, this is very much, for me, these don't go over too well. There's a charm to them, but I would never field them. I have no interest in this whatsoever. It's just not my thing. For the time, people love them, but, like, they kind of look like, look at this guy in the far right. Look at that body shape. They remind me of, old squats from, like, Rogue Trader who had, like, no legs. Still very dwarvish, but a little bit jarring. Anyways. What do you prefer, Warhammer Fantasy or Warhammer 40k? I prefer Fantasy, for sure. Fantasy is my jam. I grew up with 40k, I grew up with Fantasy. I did everything, grew up with, like, Lord of the Rings, you know, Middle-earth strategy battle game, but 40k to me just never really stuck as hard as Fantasy did. I would like to start a dwarf army, but everything older than 8th edition is so ugly and old. Bro, that's just copium. Copium! You're gonna say this is ugly and old? Okay, this is all chopped up. This is a concept piece. It's not done yet, but, like, you don't like the look of this? Really? It's a concept piece. It's not finished. It looks fine. It's a dwarf. This is GW. Yeah, it's a GW. There's a lot of work to be done, but this is GW. This came out 2006 or 7. This is, this came out during 6th edition, 6.5, I believe. Or am I wrong? Where's my Google Drive of all of my dwarf info? Yeah, it's going to be a conversion. It's going to be a ranger. I'm trying to distinguish, like, quarrelers and rangers from one another. Yeah, that's 6th edition. That's a 6... That's like a 6.5. That's like... Through 6th edition, they ended up redoing their sculpts. This was a product of it. At least, like, a lot of parts of this. So... Yeah. Just a concept piece, though, for now. I'm trying to cook up Rangers. So once I can actually clean every piece up properly, like remove the hand completely, the idea is there. Just a pose option. Yeah, anyways. They feel like Rangers? Those are Rangers, yeah. Rangers need backpacks. Rangers need cloaks. Like, not all of them would wear cloaks, but, like, for a life above ground, and you can give them throwing axes. Yeah, I've got throwing axes, like, conversions right here. So right now, I'm kind of working on Rangers. That's currently what I'm doing. And it's cool because, like, in the Quarrelers kit... So, first of all, for Rangers, their rules are... Their weapon options. They come with a crossbow, they can take throwing axes, and they can take great weapons. In the Quarreler kit and the Thunderer kit... So, let me just throw something on screen so we can all follow along. Okay. We should be able to see it here. Sixth edition warriors were the ones, well, currently of that time that you still had them, or maybe they were released in 6th edition. They had the really big hands, and they had, like, crossbows over their shoulders. Their weapons were... I have them somewhere, but, like, I was using their bits as conversions, so, like, this axe head came from those warriors. Their aesthetic was very blocky, very of the time. Like, the whole sculpting style for that edition was kind of garbage, in my opinion. It just doesn't look good. But they had a very distinct look. Very blocky, very... Like, hands were massive. Proportions were just jarring. They didn't make sense. They're not my favorite sculpts at all, but I do like the bits that come in the Warriors kit. And crazily enough, there was actually... you know what? I have the box here, but do I really want to pull this out? Hang on. Give me a sec. Oh, look, it's a Dwarf Miner box. You can't really see them, though, but, you know. I keep all my boxes because I'm a sick freak like that. I don't know why. Well, really, militia. Warriors. Here they are. Found them. These guys. A Dwarf Warrior, another box. Yeah, I got a lot of boxes. So, these Dwarf Warriors are 5th edition. These should be 5th. And then they were replaced about an edition and a half later. These guys I don't really like. Subjectively, I don't like them. What was the question again? What were we talking about? I mean, they're not... They're just... Look at their hands shot. Like, proportionally, they're just bizarre. They're a little bit bizarre, but they do have good bits. A lot of these older kits have really fun bits that if you do get a hold of them, great. But, I mean, the artwork. This guy appears on the second Winrose album on the front cover as a cameo. Yeah, on Warfront. Yeah. This was, I believe this was Adrian Smith. A. Smith. There you go. Adrian Smith. Adrian Smith always made his dwarves look so gross. Not in a unappealing way, but like they look vile, like gritty, like how they would kind of look, you know, with like no teeth and beaten faces and fucked up noses. Adrian Smith always made things kind of like a little bit unsettling. But it's very good. His shit is awesome. Yeah, they made them look a little weird at times, but this was 5th edition, I believe, yeah. Anyways, what was I saying? So here you have, we're talking about Rangers, right? So this kit right here, these are Thunderers in the back and Quarrelers in the front. This kit was originally supposed to be a 3-in-1. You built the guns, you built the crossbows, or you can build the Rangers. The Rangers were the lightly armored scouts of, like, the Dwarven race. They would go defend the outskirts, and they'd hunt down, you know, little parties that kind of ventured too close to holds. They'd patrol the underways in front of throngs and whatnot. They're just your scouts. They set traps, they guarded passes, they're constantly watching. They would sometimes bring in, you know, goats and whatnot, like typical scouts would. If they're out in the lands and they're seeing stuff, that's what they'll do. So, to build Rangers, all they told you to do was this. Because the bodies were all the exact same in the kit, the only difference in building, again, guns or crossbows was that you changed their gun or crossbow. That's it. But the Rangers also had crossbows. So to distinguish Rangers from Quarrelers, who would essentially look the exact same, Games Workshop included these bits. You get a buckler with like a bunch of different variations, and then you get the great weapon, the great axe, which was an option for Rangers. And they wanted you to slap these on the backs of Dwarf Warriors, or like whatever they were, Dwarf Quarrelers. And it really looked kind of dumb. Like, it just looked a little bit unnatural in a way. Like, that's it. Something like that, you know? The buckler typically would hang from like a belt, and then this would be somewhere like that. It looks a little bizarre. I don't like it personally. So, with the Rangers I'm doing, I'm going to try and basically just give them more dynamic poses with crossbows. And then also include a backpack with like a sleeping bag. So, they look more like scouts, right? Like they live off the land. Their entire kit is kind of on their back. Just to make them look different. But, you know, when it comes to modeling and hobbying, you can do whatever you want. You can make them look as generic as you want, or as decked out as you want. What's with the eyes? Yes, where they used actual art. That is true. You don't need to convert stuff, but, like, it does give you an extra layer of authenticity to units, I suppose. And again, one thing I was going to get at is Rangers can take throwing axes in the new rules. Pretty sure they could have before as well, but, like, there was nothing to really model them off of. Still, even today, it's the same kit, so, like, what do you do? But essentially, you take the great weapon, and you chop it down, and now you have throwing axes. So that's a bit of, you know, working in a tidbit of, like, flavor into the unit, right? So now you've got these axes that you can kind of hang from belts, throw them on a backpack, wherever it may be. And it looks like they've got throwing axes, you know? You can have... I think there was a bit here. Again, these are all mock-ups, but, like... You can have the guy looking like he's got a throwing axe. Whatever it may be, you know? So, it's as much as your creativity can, like, you know, be, I suppose, but converting things and kind of creating your own minis is always fun. The backpacks, I'm still trying to get more of, but they're not really the best to use, just because, like, the sleeping bag is upside down and the backpack's upside down. What I think I might do is still go around and look for more bits, but this was from the Cadian weapons teams. The old Cadian weapons teams that are not sold anymore, so, like, each backpack, I think, on eBay is running about a few bucks each. Essentially, all I did, at least as a mock-up, was shave it down. There used to be... You know what you could actually do? You could use the backpack in its original form. There wouldn't be a reason as to why Rangers wouldn't have pickaxes or spades or something. Because there was a spade on this. Like, there was a little shovel. And, you know, when Rangers have to dig in and kind of, like, hold around a certain position, you'd need a spade. So, it's just a bunch of, like, chopped up bits, yeah. No, the blue tack is just for, like, holding things in place so you can conceptualize it. I like seeing things in front of me. I don't like doing mock-ups on a PC just because I can't really get a feel for it. So you just kind of throw a bunch of blue tack on something and you stuff it all together and you're good. I've been looking around for different backpacks or sleeping bag options. Because you do want to, in my opinion, if you're going to convert Rangers, you give them backpacks. It is like one of the defining things that makes them look like a Ranger and not a Quarreler. And a bunch of cloaks if you want to, you know, to kind of like protect themselves from the elements. In one of the Gotrek and Felix books, there's a Ranger, and he's wearing almost like a little ghillie suit, and he's got bird shit laced all over him and stuff, because, like, they just don't notice him. You could do that. You could give them little ghillie suits, you know? That's a cool idea. They would be very much camouflaged and kind of sitting around and waiting for things to happen or scouting. But yeah. Rangers as, like, a miniature. They had minis way back when as, like, the Bugman's Rangers, and then they kind of got demoted from Bugman's Rangers and were called Rangers. They don't look good. They don't look like Rangers. They just kind of look like dwarf warriors with axes and crossbows. So. Subjective, but, you know, again, your hobby, your choice. Do what you want. Make cool shit. Again, you could also maybe go to, like, the Cadian kit. No, it's just aesthetic choice. Whatever looks good, whatever you think is cool is what you want to field, so that's what I'm doing. There are instances where what you see is what you get. It's called WYSIWYG. Is how the game is played. So, like, if your guys have crossbows, they'll have crossbows. If they have great weapons, they'll have great weapons. People do like seeing what's on the mini is kind of what's in the game, rules-wise. But you can do whatever you want. Not everyone's going to be like that. I could give these guys all great weapons and say they have crossbows. Or vice versa. I'm gearing up to play Old World. I used to play Fantasy, and now I just don't have an army because everything since Fantasy has been at least finished, sold off. But thankfully I kept a lot of, like, unmade sprues and whatnot in storage, so I've got everything I need to make Old World. And then we can play Old World, finally. Yep. We do know. Trust me, I am very excited. I am very excited. I want the book. I want the shield bearers. I want Ungrim. I want the new engineer. So many cool things. So many new model options and converting opportunities. Lots of good shit. I play OS, yeah. I played Cities before they kind of shit on the Hurricanum and made it not fun, because I love the Hurricanum. Yeah, well, I mean, you could spoil it in the Discord, but I guess we'll see. I would be very surprised if they came out with more brand new minis for dwarves. I really do wonder. I'm more so intrigued by how Thorgrim is going to look versus Burlock. Like, young Thorgrim, if they don't come out with a mini, I would have to cook up something. Because I would love to see what he looks like. Burlock Damonson is head of, like, the older Master Engineers Guild. He's the father of Grim Burlockson. Yep. Which was, like, the later engineering character. Bro had, like, a fucking power fist. Like a dwarven power fist. Burlock was out of, he was out of, Karak, right? I believe he was. Which is interesting because, like... Well, if you're young, though, you would be more radical. You'd create things that don't really rely too much on tradition. Unless you were really brought up in, like, a household where tradition was everything and this and that, but, like... If you're a beardling, I think you want more adventurous shit, you know? You want a lot of adventurous stuff. Like, it's always the young folk that kind of do the outlandish things, not the older people who kind of, like, know better, right? So it makes sense. I can't even remember my own daughter's name. What? I mean, hey, we're all getting old. It's all made-up fake lore, but, like, it's just intriguing, so you kind of remember some of it, you know? I don't remember absolutely everything, nor have I read absolutely everything. Yeah. No, I gotcha. That's pretty normal for people. Plastic is easier to kind of work with. It's softer. Metal is obviously not as fun because it's harder to cut and shape and clean. Plastic is the king. If you want to make anything Warhammer related, just do plastic. Or rather, you'll have the most fun with plastic, I should say. What time is it? We gotta go stream League soon. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna be ending here soon. I'm gonna go eat, and then I'm gonna be on the League stream all day. We're probably not gonna get back on the Warhammer stream. That's why we did it this morning instead of in the afternoon. I've tried carving wood. Yeah, a little bit. It's alright. It's not my favorite thing, but I would do it at the cottage where there was a bunch of wood you could just go cut. League fair. No, I do want to go. What the fuck is this? What is this? Ew. Get out of here, dude. I may start streaming Warhammer first before I stream League, just so I can, again, wake up. 8 hours! Mod me, a fellow Canadian. Hey, I don't know about 8 hours, but we'll see. I'm gonna stream 6 hours. 6 hours. But again, this weekend we're going to be playing Dead Space. I do mod for TF Blade. You just weakened your chances of being a mod for me. You got a mod ship on that manlet's little channel? Oh. He actually lives close to me. Pretty sure he lives, like, in the same city. He's in Toronto. Set up a better mood, too? Yeah. I don't mind doing this in the morning because, again, I can just scrape plastic and chill out and wake up. But we'll see. Damn, you know what'd be so sick? Are there any pointing hands for dwarves? Is there any kit that has a pointing hand? Maybe the artillery kit? DRG? Not really. Not really into DRG. Do we really have no pointing hands in the Dwarven army at all, anywhere? Oh, Grim... Yeah, Grim Burlickson. You know what actually has a pointing hand is that unreleased sprue. There's actually one in there. Because, like, you could do the champion. The champion could kind of have his crossbow down, and then you could have the guy pointing or something. A lot of dwarven champions usually just have their arms up, flailing around. I don't know. Just an idea. Just an idea. Where the fuck did it go? Bad manners to point with your hand? What do you point with then? What? Yeah, modding is, I mean, I've seen... So, you guys know Kaisenet, right? One of his... I was looking through, like... You point with your axe? Oh, true, actually, yeah, makes sense. I was looking through... Like, Twitch at the time when he was doing fucking, what's that game called? Dark Souls, I think? Or, like, Elden Ring? And there was a stream that was going on alongside his, but it was one of his mods, and it was a stream that basically showed how the guy modded his chat. And, yeah, that shit's like a full-time job. Obviously not nearly as hard, but, like, you know. Chimp, yo, buddy. We're chilling, we're good. We are chilling, good sir. Kind of want to be a mod, but I also say too many weird things in chat. I mean, it's just more of like a badge of honor at this point, no? You just want to look like you stand out, right? Look at me, I'm modded. I saw a little bit of your video. Honestly, the quality was pretty good, man. I would say, if anything, and I'm kind of not good with this either, and people can always improve, speak clearly. Try and, like, have every word come out of your mouth, and it's, like, I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes you can kind of, like, muddy your words. Even I do it. I, like, slur a little bit. Maybe that's because my brain doesn't work, but, like, pronouncing everything. Yeah. Just so people can follow along. I'm not saying you're bad at speaking or anything, but, like, even I have that problem where sometimes I'll start saying a bunch of stuff and then it's just, like, slopped in with one another. Like, two words kind of get slewed a bit. Subbing is a prerequisite. I'd resub right away. I mean, shit, you're not even subbed, but you do save lives. Now, we'll see. I think right now I don't need any, to be honest. I don't really update my channel quite a bit with, like, new features or new mods, which I probably should do something along the lines like that in a while. Or soon, I should say. Yeah. I mean, everyone kind of... I don't know of anyone who speaks perfectly. Personally, I guess, but... kind of, having it come out great is not a bad thing. Well, they're not even view bots. They're like, advertise bots. They come in and say, like, oh, you want new viewers? Oh, you want new reviews? It's like, no, fuck off. Go away. No, I don't want it. We can send you 10,000 followers on Twitter, and they will all respond with the most human interaction possible, such as, great post and well said. You'll be a hit in no time. Well said. It's like the worst take in history ever, and the robots come in like beautifully said. Incredible words. I enjoyed reading this post. So strong. Well, see, that's different. That doesn't even sound like a robot, though, because you mentioned Mochi. Robots would never mention Mochi. Robots don't even know Mochi is real. You know what you do? Go into ChatGPT and say, write me a positive comment about the streamer TobiasFate. Do that in ChatGPT and post it in chat. Write me a positive comment about the Twitch streamer TobiasFate and see what that fucking program has to say. Do it. That'd be... that's weird. That is weird. Just to see what they have to say. TobiasFate is a standout Twitch streamer known for his engaging and entertaining... Okay, but how is this a comment? TobiasFate is a standout Twitch streamer known for his engaging and entertaining content. His skillful gameplay, particularly in League of Legends, combined with his characteristic and humorous personality, creates a unique and enjoyable experience for viewers. Tobias' ability to connect with his audience and his consistent dedication to streaming make him a beloved figure in the gaming community. I mean, TobiasFate brings a unique blend of skill, humor, and engaging personality to his streams. His passion for gaming and his ability to connect with his audience make every session enjoyable and entertaining. Whether he's dominating in-game or sharing stories, Tobias consistently delivers quality content that keeps his viewers coming back for more. What the fuck? Okay, what is that? One of the coolest things TobiasFate has ever done is his legendary climb to the high ranks in League of Legends, playing almost exclusively as Gangplank. His dedication to mastering the complex champion and his ability to pull off incredible plays such as 1v5 pentakills and clutch barrel combos have left a lasting impression on his audience. His creative and entertaining Gangplank montages showcasing his high-level mechanics and game sense has become iconic within the League of Legends community. TobiasFate is an absolute Gangplank god and who only loses due to his Oxygen Thief teammates. He is extremely base Dwarf fan like me. Did they really type that? That's funny. What a weird world we live in. I had a dog named Zoe. TobiasFate has a dog named Zoe. She frequently makes appearances on his stream, delighting viewers with her cute and playful antics. Zoe has become a beloved part of TobiasFate's community, adding an extra layer of warmth and charm to his already engaging content. Bro, these bots just fucking glaze you, dude. They fucking, like, suck you down. Holy shit. I mean, they probably have heard videos of, like, me flaming Zoe, and they think it's a dog or something? I don't know. Weird. Maybe that's it. Maybe I've said dog shit so much that, like, yeah, they probably picked that up instead. Okay, after I'm done this arm, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go have lunch, and then I'll be on the main stream all day. TobiasFate has mentioned on stream that he enjoys various foods, but one of his favorites is pizza. He often talks about his love for the classic dish, especially during his casual and interactive segments with his viewers. His enthusiasm for pizza adds a relatable and fun element to his streams. What? Yeah, relatable, guys, don't worry. I like pizza. That's a good quality that I have, right? It's so relatable. Like, we're brothers, dude. I like pizza. So relatable. Fuck, now I'm kind of in the mood for pizza, and I don't have any. Let me see. Does he have any hobbies? I know Arch Enemy, yeah. TobiasFate has several hobbies outside of streaming. He enjoys playing a variety of video games beyond League of Legends, exploring different genres and titles. Additionally, TobiasFate is a fan of anime and often discusses his favorite series with his viewers. He also has a interest in fitness and staying active, balancing his gaming sessions with a healthy lifestyle. These hobbies add depth to his personality and provide more content for his community to engage in. You're trolling. You're just writing this shit up. Fitness and anime. Okay, I think you're just trolling, dude. I literally think you're just writing up a bunch of bullshit, because there's no fucking way that's real. That or they just give you random shit that makes no sense. Go to ChatGPT and see for yourself. I swear to God, this is all the bot. Very vague, and, like, he just likes anime and likes exercising. Like, give us more information. What anime does he like? What fitness techniques is he into? Arch Enemy is not, I mean, they're okay. I don't think they're, like, turbo heavy, no. I haven't listened to them in a long time since their previous vocalist left. But, yeah, she's, pretty good. What is your favorite squat variation? I need to exercise more. I really do. You're on here at all times of the day. We're good. A kettlebell. I'll be getting myself weights and also going out for like walks and runs maybe. Are there any other squats outside 40k? I was gonna say, like, I thought he was talking about actual Warhammer and not like exercising. Hang on. Did you really? It's pretty good. I mean, these streams are... There's not much that goes on in them, but I guess that's kind of the point, no? What if I, Let me see if I can... Let me turn the brightness down on this. Is that better on the eyes if it's not as bright? Does it look better? Or is it weird? Is it really better? Grainy? How about now? Wait, this isn't even the right one. What the fuck am I cleaning? Toby Smith. Are we actually going to talk about microplastics here? I mean, they're everywhere, man. Microplastics are everywhere. I've got a vacuum. I can suck all this up. Fucking random hair. Like, dude, go away. I wish I did. I could not find any when I went grocery shopping, so the next time I go, I'm gonna go to a different place. Or I just buy them on Amazon, which is usually where I would get them from, but I haven't yet. They were drinking pure testosterone. It doesn't sound very Warhammer of Warhammer fans. Maybe sounds more like what they do in the universe, but not the fandom. Fandom ain't not doing that one. I didn't yet. No, I was actually talking about it recently. So the next thing I'll be buying, guaranteed, is I'm going to get the camera first, because this section is easier to fix. My gaming section, I need to redo my whole wall. I have to take down a display case, I have to dismount monitors on the wall, I have to take down a few shelves, I need to clear out the entire section to kind of redo it and make space. Here, putting a camera on a tripod, much easier. So, we have not yet done it, but it's on the list of things to do. Oh, really? That's interesting. I mean, sounds like a interesting place to be. Victor Sherwood. What? What a weird, like, not even remotely close name to my name. Okay, I think this is okay for now, because I do want to go eat and then stream League. It's not entirely done, but, like, it's in a good spot where I can just leave it and then do it later. Okay, folks, that's it for me. I am out of here. You will catch me in about 10 to 20 minutes on the main channel. Bro, is that really what this is? Is that what this song is about? Stick your finger in my ass. That's what the song is, yeah? Let me Google those lyrics real quick. Are they really? Bro, old Rammstein was just fucking like, what are you on about? Stick your finger in my ashes. Okay, not close then, what? No, this has nothing to do with that, you fucking bozo. This has nothing to do with that at all. Yeah, I stabbed myself. All right, I'm out of here, folks. Let me go eat. Let me go take care of a few things, and then I'll be on the main channel. With that being said, peace, peace. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. I will be on here maybe turbo late tonight, but, like, we're going to at least do 6 hours on the main channel. Yeah. So, everyone, have yourselves a great fucking day. Stay safe. Be well. See you soon, or see you